I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. I'm here with Jana today, and we're going to talk about hypnosis. I'm really excited about this because I've never done a discussion about it. Before we get in, Jana, tell people where they can get hold of you.
Thank you for that. You can get hold of me at tuneinwithjana.com or tuneinwithjana on Instagram.
Brilliant. And you are also available on LinkedIn as well, aren't
Of
you?
course, yes, Jana Osta.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Tell us your story, because you started off. It's not like you were born a, a person doing hypnosis. So you've been in corporate, and then you got into yoga. So tell us your story.
Yes, exactly that. So I'm a corporate girl. I'm your regular city girl, really lived most of my life following that system, that structure. And at some point around the way, I just felt a lot of burnout, anxiety, completely disconnected from who I truly am, from my joy, my passion. And yoga was kind of my savior. It
Mm.
was my after 6 p.m. escape, like a whole different world that I would travel into. But specifically in yoga, it was meditation that really allowed me to start to connect back to what's within, to kind of say, oh, there's more to life, there's something happening there. And meditation got me curious about the mind, because meditation really works with the mind. It's really working and clearing the mind and then taking the mind on these beautiful journeys, which are hypnotic journeys. They are hypnotic journeys in nature. And as I got more curious and curious about that state that I would experience in meditation, that state where you would feel like, oh, was I asleep? Was I awake? Did I travel? Was this real? Oh, I saw a bit of colors. I had a vision. I was like, what is this state? And that got me curious. And I learned that it is a hypnotic state where a lot of healing and growth happens. And so I ventured into the world of hypnosis and I started learning all about hypnotherapy and coaching. And somewhere along the way, I left my corporate job and I dedicated my life to this healing journey.
Because back in COVID, I did a meditation course.
Oh,
My partner's, well, he's 27 now, suggested that the Calm app,
okay.
CALM.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was you got a year's worth subscription if you had a American Express. So I signed up to it, and there was a meditation course on it.
Mm,
And I've recommended it to loads of people. And it's one of these. It's a that it the way it is there's no funny stuff about it. It's just
right.
this guy, and he says, I'm going to teach you how to meditate. And I
Right.
did. It's a 30-day course, and it was amazing.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
and there was one bit where he said, what you're going to do now, and you won't believe this, but you're going to basically look down on yourself, and I'm
Mm,
going to get you to look at yourself from over here and look at you. And I thought, nah, this is rubbish. And I and it was like, and I went, this is amazing.
yeah.
I'm looking down on myself.
Yes, exactly.
And I've got a whole bunch of people also who work with me, who basically used the Calm app and did the same course, and they said exactly the same. It was a really, if you're looking to get into meditation and not sure what it's about, it's a great place to start. Well, I found it.
Right.
So I totally understand what you're saying about
Mm.
the meditation and the way um, that impacts the mind and gives you it's different from sleep.
Yes, it is different than sleep. It's close to sleep, so
Yeah.
it's that state that is between wakefulness and sleep. So it's
Yes.
really when the brain waves of the mind, of the brain slow down, but they're not there in that state where you're in deep sleep. So it's right before, and there's a beautiful window there.
Mm.
It's almost like you're entering into a different dimension,
Yeah.
right? And it's a little bit like lucid dreaming, where you're like,
It's a very restful place
it's a very healing and
where,
restful.
where your mind is empty, which is what I wanted, because you're running a business. There's all kinds of things that you're thinking about, and it's about emptying the mind. And it's this very restful, peaceful place, which is very difficult to describe without it, having. Now I've been there, I kind of understand that. Um,
Yes.
So explain to us stuff about the subconscious mind, because because I think we need to understand that most, but don't we, in terms of how the subconscious works?
Oh, wow. Okay, so bear with me. So I'm gonna try to explain it to you in kind of relating to your.
I'm an idiot, so just explain it to me. So
All right. So when we are born as human beings, as
mm,
a child is born into this beautiful world, they're born with kind of a clean slate, like a beautiful white canvas waiting to be painted. That's how I like to describe it. And that's the mind. It's clean, it's clear. They know nothing except survival instinct, basically. The genes that for fight or flight and
butterfly, yeah,
survival. Exactly. And somewhere along the way, between the ages of 0 to 8, where we are as children just like sponges taking in information from our society, culture, religions, systems, our parents. And I always say our parents are the biggest hypnotists. They don't know
yes,
it, but what they're doing is that they are creating programs in the mind. So between the ages of 0 to 8, the mind is creating associations. Oh, this is good. This is bad. Money is harmful. Dogs are friendly. Cats are vicious. Cheese is unhealthy. Whatever, any programs based on your society, culture, religion, and the system that you are brought up in, you end up creating a program, a story that becomes your story. And somewhere along the way, the mind blocks the story, locks it in, and kind of says, this is me, this is my story. And that's the subconscious mind. It becomes 95% of your life story. And the mind tends to kind of create kind of a filter around it to say, no one's touching my story. I've learned that this is how you should live. This is what success means. This is what is joy. This is what's good, bad, wrong, right, pretty, ugly. And now I'm protecting it. And that becomes your subconscious mind. And research is now showing that up to 95% of our behavior, actions, habits, beliefs about life, our limitations, our fears, what stops you today, even as an adult, goes back to what you've learned as a child and you've created as a story for yourself. And
yeah,
so we end up living our life subconsciously. But there is that 5%, which is the conscious mind. When we're awake right now, we have reasoning, we have a willpower, we have sense of judgment, or so we think. But that's only 5% of the mind, and there's the 95% that's really driving the boat.
because I think with the I think well, I often use the subconscious mind, but I'm one of those people where I will I'm going to I'll sleep on that decision,
Right.
or because what you're doing is that you're going to put it into the subconscious mind and it will think about it, and it just seems to happen. It's a bit like
Mhm.
when you can't remember a name of a person, so if you actually stop trying to think about it, sometimes
Mm.
it actually comes to you because it's your subconscious mind that seems to go and get it from the archive somewhere in your head.
Mm.
And it is such a powerful thing.
Of course, of course, it's powerful, especially if we're not aware of the programs. Because so often, if we're not aware, what am I doing subconsciously? What is a program that has been leading my life, but I've not been aware that, whoa, I've believed so much in this, but it's not the truth,
Mm.
right? Then that becomes not a great
Father
kind of
Christmas.
Father Christmas, right? Then that becomes not a great way to live life. But when we become aware of our programs, our stories, then we can change them and we can influence them, and then we become less of victims and more of kind of masters of our life and of our mind. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there's lots of things that the nature and the nurture. There's certain things that are in our DNA.
Right.
I for example, classic example is on my mother's side. There's a baldness gene, which basically it's from the Joneses. So I've got that gene. So that's one of the things which is part of our DNA.
Right.
Um, and I lost my hair at 25. I mean, most people who know me don't know, have never known me with hair.
Mm.
Um, and so there's that. There's also the nurture, isn't there? So if you took two twins, you could basically they would grow up, but they could grow up differently. But there would also be certain things that would be the same. So I'm just going
Yeah.
to bring Christopher's thing up, saying hello from Southern California.
Hello. Yes, 100%. And I really believe that there's a lot of programming that comes from our ancestors, from my parents and their parents, that we still carry, even if there are programs about our beliefs, about what we could do in life, what is right, what is wrong, again, our limitations. We carry those on from our parents and their parents until we become aware
Mm.
of that program, and we become conscious, active role players, that we say, hey, I'm going to break this. Then that program doesn't carry on to generations to come, to your children and their children. And of course, you're talking about more physical programs, and that's a different kind of scientific um, area that is not my expertise. But in the realm of the mind, we can definitely break those ancestral genetic programs.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, the classic one is the one that my mother's passed to me, though I don't have it so bad. She is terrified of snakes,
There you go.
and she's actually done therapy to try and get her over
Okay.
the thing, and she's still terrified of it. But she passed that on to me. I'm not particularly terrified of them, but I just don't like them. Um,
Exactly.
and so, what is it that we can? What talk to us about hypnosis. What is it that we can be doing and can be doing differently, so we can, so I could actually go and get a pet boa constrictor or something.
Yeah, so if you remember when I explained that your mind has created this program and then protected it with
Mm.
kind of a shield. Now that shield, that critical mind that really protects your story, can be opened. We can open that shield. And the way to open it is by entering into a hypnotic state. In a
Right.
hypnotic state, something that you've experienced, during your meditation, where you feel like, whoa, what is this? Where am I? Actually, in that state, what's happening is that that mind that is protective is relaxing and is saying, okay, I can be relaxed here, I can open. And when that doorway opens, the doorway to the subconscious mind opens. It's like a Pandora box almost. And what happens is that the mind starts to release all of these limitations, fears, anxieties, stressors, things that are not really serving us, but we're holding on to. It tends to release it, and we can invite new programs that are actually helpful and positive. Like, from now on, I'm not going to be scared of snakes anymore, because I know they're not going to harm me unless I get close to them.
Mm.
From now on, cheese is not going to make me feel intolerant, like with
And
my
spiders are okay, and
spiders are okay, or anything. It can be more life changing things, like my fear of success, or my what how I deal with money,
mm,
or attracting the wrong people into my life and relationships. It can be all of these programs. I can release the ones that don't serve me and invite new ones. And this release and this therapy, you could do it simply on your own, as in by daily practicing the act of meditation, sitting
right.
with yourself, putting an intention, being aware of, I need to release this, and I sit with myself and I go into that state and I allow my mind to do that. Or it can be through a guidance of a therapist who would actually take you on a guided journey verbally into your subconscious mind, to speak to your subconscious mind and say, hey, that fear of money, where you think that you are not abundant and you cannot become a millionaire, is not true. You actually can, and you change the story, you change the conversation. Yeah, so I would say step number one, be aware of what you
Right.
want to change. What is your current limitation, the program that is guiding your life that is not helpful, a story you're telling yourself? Be aware that it's in your subconscious mind and that you need to access that to create change.
And so and the two ways we could do it would be through meditation, or do it, use somebody like yourself, where you would in effect put the person into a hypnotic state and
Yeah,
then make suggestions to them. Is that the
I mean, there's many different ways as well, because meditation can be achieved in different ways, right? Some people would meditate through mindfulness exercises and through dance and through paint and art, or you could meditate by chanting and by singing and joining communities. You need to find what feels right for you. Those practices are long term practices. I don't go to a meditation class and solve my problems. Definitely not. It's like years of practice to sit with yourself and
right?
connect yourself. Therapy would help, where you would say, I have a problem, and it says that I have a fear of spiders, and I want you to help me release that problem. So it's more like, there's a problem, let's guide you exactly towards that. Whereas meditation is more like a lifetime journey of inwardness where you really grow and connect yourself on a deeper level.
Okay, I thought there might be a time scale there.
Exactly.
And the thing about, I mean, I know it's very easy to laugh about hypnosis because we've seen circus acts where, you know, they've had people barking like dogs and
Yes.
stuff like that. But this actually has a serious application, doesn't it, in terms of being able to change things within people's minds and not get them barking
Exactly.
like dogs, but actually
Yes.
getting them, you know, maybe that there's a particular fear they have.
Exactly. So this is stage hypnosis, which is really made for entertainment purposes,
Mm,
but in a therapeutic perspective. Now imagine if that stage hypnotist can make a person bark like a dog.
mm,
Now imagine if in therapy that hypnotist can make you believe that you are invincible and
mm,
limitless, and that you can stand on stage and talk next to millions of people and raise your voice, and that you can make money and be abundant and loved. So then that is also possible, because
mm.
it's all about programming your mind. You program your mind, you program how you show up in the world, and you can change your life. It's that simple.
Because I think that, you know, imposter syndrome is a classic example. I think something that probably all people have suffered from at some point,
Of
um,
course.
and I think that's something that, you know, I know that people, especially speaking. Um, my mother just is amazed that the little shy boy that grew up. You know, I'll send her a message saying, you know, I'll take a photograph of the audience, and I'll say, I've just been talking to 250 people. And she said, no, you
Wow.
didn't do that.
Yes, imposter syndrome is really big. Yes.
And I think that's, you know, one thing that um, you know, what else do you see possible with hypnosis?
Okay, so definitely releasing stress and anxiety, because
Mm,
again, stress and anxiety is a reaction to a trigger. And what we do in hypnosis is that we change the reaction to the trigger. So the next time anything that in your life is causing you stress, anxiety, any kind of emotional distress, your reaction changes. From now on, that trigger makes you feel happy, makes you feel calm, makes you feel like life is good. Addiction, like any habits, specifically smoking.
smoking, yeah.
And there's a lot of research that shows the impact on hypnosis in quitting smoking, which is actually 5 times more powerful than willpower on its own. You know, you can have all the willpower that you want to quit smoking, but when the subconscious mind gets on board, it becomes so much easier. So addiction, smoking, and then all of these things you're talking about, imposter syndrome, you want to follow a dream, but you're not able to because you have fear, because you have doubts about yourself. You change that story, because that story is an old story from your childhood of be worried, be careful, don't take big steps, don't be different. It's a scary world out there. We change that program into a program that is more true to yourself, which is that you're amazing and you can do anything you set your mind to, basically. Yeah.
And just, you know, we've got about a minute and a half left. I mean, where do you see this going? Um, where do you see this going in the future? Is there something that we can be looking for or managing or something like that?
What do you mean looking for or managing?
Is it, you know, well, you know, in terms of, is this something that actually should become day to day? Is
Oh,
this something that we should all be, that, you know, just as much as I basically downloaded an app and do a meditation course,
you
you know,
can
is
go.
hypnosis something that we should all be looking for, not
I
just,
really think so, because hypnosis is natural, and it's something that you actually experience every day without being aware. That moment before you fall asleep, while you are driving, while you're watching a movie, you're in a hypnotic state. So you can use that natural state for therapeutic purposes. It's the most natural way where you can have very fast results. And it's a beautiful way where you can transcend the physical and move into those spiritual, beautiful journeys as well.
hmm.
So it should be in every household, in every single human life. Yes, please invite
and
it.
and you know, we need to, and I think, you know, with all these things, you know, wellness is so important now. You know, when I grew up, you were just told to shut up and get on with it.
Yeah.
And now, we're in a situation where we can cry, we can share our feelings and stuff like that. And maybe this has to become part of our everyday everyday toolkit to actually be used within leadership and management.
100%. And there are ways to learn self hypnosis, how you can hypnotize yourself to shift your emotions and shift your beliefs and shift your thoughts towards something that's positive. And that's, the power of us as humans. We can be those invincible people completely naturally within minutes. So, yes.
Fantastic. Jana, thank you so much for coming on and talk about hypnosis. It's such a fascinating subject. I know when I approached you and when we had the prep, been so looking forward to this, because I've done some, I've talked about meditation and stuff like that, but we've never talked about hypnosis.
Thank you
I just
so
think it's such a fascinating subject.
It is very much. I love this topic. I can talk for hours about this. So if you
I'm
have
sure you
any
can.
questions, you can reach out to me anytime. I thank you for inviting me and for being interested in spreading information
Hey,
about
no,
this amazing topic.
I said to you, I'm always looking for interesting people, and this ticks all the interesting boxes.
Great.
Remind people where they can get hold of you. Instagram.
Instagram at Tune In with Jana. TuneInWithJana.com is my website, and just here on LinkedIn, Jana Osta. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming on and sharing your insight.